Hello, Capricorn. Thank you so much, you guys, as always, for being here. Okay, Cap, so looking at your last week of November, you pulled that death will come, trickery, and sensitivity. This is interesting because these two, I feel like, are the connected part. This is more so the, hey, now is the time for you to start making changes. That death will come is like a lesson in the impermanence of all things. But I think that for some of you, it's realizing that you may be wasting your time and your energy on a situation that is not making you feel good or making you feel like you're dealing with dishonest people and situations because of trickery. So this one says, during trying times, things may be easier to ask for help. Don't be disappointed if assistance does not come from the place you expect. But the things that it talks about is dance of scarcity, coveting possessions, vulnerable heart, which I think is where sensitivity is coming through. And then accusing others and hidden motives. I think that this is like a realization that you're wasting your time with people who are not honest, right? It's like dealing constantly with like the Seven of Swords. But sensitivity and the way that it's affecting you may be an issue too. And this may be, the importance of understanding that, there's not a whole lot of time to be wasting on things like this, right? So sensitivity says being sensitive means you feel energy on a deeper level than most of the people around you. You may sense or know what other people are feeling or thinking. You may also take on the feelings or moods of those around you. You may find that your fears become amplified when your sensitivity is heightened. And it talks about needing to heal this cycle and learning to confront your fears. But your fears may be coming from a place of having to deal with deception because of trickery. And sorry about the noise in the background. That would be an alarm going off. But it's interesting to me on how there's this whole idea of taking on the moods of other people because of being a highly sensitive person, right? And you may be taking on things that are really disrupting you because of, like I said, trickery being there. And the other thing I want to say there too is be careful about allowing yourself to be in situations where your emotions can be easily manipulated. For others of you, when looking at trickery and understanding that there isn't a whole lot of time to be wasting on that, it's almost like you're spending time in situations that are tricking you and making you think that you should be feeling something else other than, being true to yourself about how you feel, if that makes sense. You're overall the Two of Cups, so we're talking about a relationship here, you and another person and the connection that you have. We'll see how this is playing out, but this is about you and another person. In the past, the Three of Swords, heartbreak, separation. For some of you, could be talking about a relationship where there was a breakup. Some of you may still be dealing with the heartbreak of the situation. And then looking at trickery too, it'd be easy to see a situation where you thought somebody felt the same way that you did. In the present, the Four of Wands. So the Four of Wands here recently has been speaking to me about starting the process of building a new and better foundation, whatever that looks like to you. But it's something that's good. It's worth celebrating, and it's worth the continued growth. But this is a positive start to a better foundation in your life. And this is coming out of heartbreak and separation. Now, you may be building a better foundation in your relationships or with someone in particular. But I think that not only are we talking about a person that you're dealing with here, but we may be talking about two different people. Someone or, relationships that you've had in the past that have affected you with the Three of Swords. And then something else that you may be dealing with that may be helping to kind of build this better foundation, right? And this could be about somebody coming through and understanding you where you may not have had that before with someone in particular, or with just in relationships in general, right? The Two of Swords in future conditions. Okay. So, what I feel like here, first of all, we're talking about indecision or the difficult choice. But this is also not making a choice because you're refusing to see something. Now, for some of you, you may literally feel like, what choice do I have? And that may be coming from a place of how the Three of Swords has affected you, because we're talking about you building a different foundation within relationships. Now, if a new relationship is making itself available to you, you may feel like, how am I supposed to make that choice? I can't look past the pain that I've dealt with in the past. But we'll see. I'm interested now. But I do like the Four of Wands. This may have created instability, but this is you gaining that back. Now, if this is about somebody wanting to reconnect with you, this may be, that's not a choice I'm willing to make because of this. Again, it all goes back to how that Three of Swords has affected you and how it affects your ability to make choices in the future. Your best path to follow, the Emperor. You are in control of what happens. And what I mean by that is that you are in control of how you allow things to affect you. Now, if you are in a controlling situation, then the question is who is in control, right? Who are you allowing to have control over you? But this, I feel like, is you needing to move back into that power and being able to trust the choices that you make, especially within relationships. But this may be controlling you and the decisions that you make. In your environment, the Page of Swords, and that may be the cause for a new foundation being built for you. The Page of Swords is always the communication you don't want to get, because you have to look for more information because you're not getting the full story here. It's like hearing something that, you don't exactly know if it's true, and you didn't exactly want to hear either. But this may be somebody, again, trying to communicate with you, and it may be that they're wanting to try to rebuild things with you, but I don't think that you're willing to make that choice. That's going to be for some of you. For others of you, it's because of this that a new foundation is being built for you. But whatever relationships come up out of that, you are not able to make a clear choice because it's being controlled by the heartbreak that was experienced. Wow, man, your hopes and your fears, the Page of Cups, right? Like, you would rather be hearing from the Page of Cups than the Page of Swords. And with the Two of Cups, absolutely, this could be somebody who is curious about what you're doing, right? Typically, this is the person like trying to find out more information about you. This could be the other person that has broken your heart, right? But the Page of Cups is hopes and fears. This is, I want to feel something new again. And hoping for, more understanding and compassionate communication, but that may not be what you're getting because of this. But if we're talking about you building a better foundation, You may not be making the same choices that you did before. And the choices that you do make may be difficult, but it's because of that Three of Swords that things are changing. And I think that for you, unless you get this kind of communication, you're not willing to get involved. And this may also be you hoping to hear from somebody else. You may literally be leaving one situation and wanting to be in another, but your hands may be tied in this situation. And I say that because of the Emperor, right? But either way, you know, it would make sense with this being hopes and fears. I always look at the Page of Cups and feel like, you know, I want to return to that innocent feeling, that innocent emotion, the purity of it. You know, and with the Three of Swords coming through, clearly there's a lack of that. Or more like being affected in a way by it, that what you're hoping for is to have, you know, a return to some kind of like innocence and pure emotional connection. And then coming out the High Priestess. And again, right, like trusting your intuition, what your intuition is telling you. But this could also be about, you know, something that you may be keeping secret, you or somebody else, right? Secret relationship. Oh, some of you, though, may just not be open about how you are feeling because of how you've been affected. The Moon. This is like not understanding why this took place. The Four of Swords. And again, right, building a better foundation for you, creating this kind of stability. And even if you are hearing stupid shit, you're not answering it. And then the Queen of Swords. Okay. So for some of you, straight up, this is going to have to do with a relationship where there was heartbreak. A better foundation is being built for you, but it's coming out of you having to recover from this situation. But, you know, no matter what is said here, you're not hearing it, you're not responding to it, you're just kind of keeping your feelings to yourself. You can't make that kind of choice to get involved in this kind of relationship. So it may be that you are telling somebody, look, I don't want to be involved anymore, and you're just kind of keeping things to yourself. But you've become harsh because of it, right? Like the Queen of Swords immediately, you know, besides speaking the truth and handing somebody their ass, it's also being hard and cold because you were not given the emotional connection or attention that you needed. But you're not letting it bring you down. It's just, it's changing the way that I think that you respond to stupid shit like this. But with the Moon and the Three of Swords, this is confusion over why. Things were not clear. The way that things may have happened are not clear. You know, we're not talking about an ending here, though, is what's interesting to me. You know, there's this separation and the heartbreak, but the situation hasn't ended. But this is literally confusion over why, and then having to go into this place where you're able to heal yourself, recover from this situation, create a better foundation for yourself, and not responding to anybody trying to get your attention. And even if they do, they are not allowed to be part of your inner world. That's what I want to say with the Queen of Swords and the High Priestess. So this could be about, you know, you working out emotionally what has upset you and what was confusing and not clear. But you're still going through this recovery process. And I think that for a lot of you, you know, when it comes to relationships, you may be really cold and like turned off. But there's a reason for that, right? But I also want to say, though, that with the Emperor, how much of this are you allowing to control your ability to make clear decisions within different relationships? Like, I feel like if you've been hurt by somebody, don't shut yourself off to like never wanting to be in a relationship again. But this one in particular, for those of you who are resonating with this and you've dealt with somebody that has hurt you, right? Like, no matter what is said, this is not a choice that you want to make again. But because of this being your hopes and fears and looking at the Queen of Swords, that's kind of why I'm like, right? Like, be careful. Be careful about, how you're allowing somebody to affect you emotionally. But, and I say that because of sensitivity, but, be careful about completely shutting yourself off from love or deep connection at all, magic, right? And that can be hard to see in a situation like this. Seeing the magic, and everybody is getting this. I'm telling you, everybody needs to go play and have a good time. And then compassion. So with compassion, and then you know what? You have this one too. Just be. And I kind of feel like that's where the Four Swords is coming through, right? Like just allowing yourself to be. But in order to see the magic in the experiences again, there is a need for you to play. The Page of Cups, play, right? But then compassion, having compassion for yourself, but also being able to have compassion for the other person that hurt you, and gaining that wisdom and understanding and mindfulness of why they may have treated you that way, right? That will help facilitate a lot of healing. But, just be, right? Like, just be within the flow of everything. Don't allow these kinds of situations and relationships to continue to have control over the decisions that you make moving forward. But always trust what your intuition is telling you. You may not get the answers that you need, and you may not get, the right kind of closure, so to speak. But if you're doing the healing work, all you need is to trust yourself and how you feel. You don't need somebody to tell you, how to reach that healing place. That's something that comes from within, right? Desert Passage, trust there's a divine plan. So this feels like everything is just kind of like dead. Everything's dried up. There's no life. And you're walking down this path of just nothingness. But this is saying that, this is only for a short time. And again, right, like the impermanence of everything seems to be important with that death may come. It's time for you to be able to heal and move on from this. But while you're going through this, again, right, like trusting yourself and trusting what is taking place, even though it may feel like nothing is happening and nothing is like changing for you. You still have a different foundation that's being built out of recovery. And then it says, begin now, take your first step. Wow, Capricorn. And I really feel like this is going to be for those of you who have been severely emotionally affected because of being highly sensitive by pain that was caused by another. And I think that this is somebody that you thought was on the same page as you, right? But again, right, like I feel this huge need to have the magic of life returned. But that's only going to come from you being able to just kind of like have a good time, play, do, things that are going to, show you that magic, right? But then the compassion there's a lot going on here, Capricorn, and I'm just like feeling it all really heavy. But, you know, with the High Priestess coming out, whatever it is that you don't have answers to, you will find them. That information will be shown to you. And trust what you feel about it. That's going to give you the answers that you need. But again, be careful about shutting yourself off. Because I feel like with magic showing up, it's almost like the universe is going to pop something up that I don't think that you're going to expect.